Flight Boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Terry's Moon, Flight Boss, the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucker responsibilities. And right now, I want to teach you how to read minds. Yeah, how to read motherfucking minds. Now, this is not something you're going to be able to learn overnight. This is something you have to practice and build upon. It's not like how scientists try to explain it. Like you get to sit back and read somebody's mind. Now, a lot of people naturally have these energies. Like if you got a lot of planetary alignments with Jupiter, Neptune, motherfucking and a little bit of Venus, or a lot of angles towards your moon, also you're able to read minds. And if you like a person got a lot of these energies, or you may be a Pisces, Sag, Cancer, or things of that nature, or Gemini, then if you are already doing this, but if you are unaware that you are doing this, a lot of you people can get overwhelmed by that energy and get took over a lot of times where it drives you crazy. But this is something you have to practice and build upon. Like I said, something can't be effective enough to be utilized unless you take time on it. You know that based upon your goals, whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to create. Because look at car companies or whatever like that, right? If you want to get a good, sufficient car, then you're going to go to a car company that take time on their car. Or you want to go get a punk ass charger or something like that where it take like 3 days to make. And regardless of what model charger you get, you still gonna have electrical problems and shit because they ain't take time and curate on that motherfucking model. So, you know, you have to do this also with the mind. So when we talk about reading minds, you have to develop that body for yourself. You have to develop that mental concept and play on that concept and practice it so that body, that vehicle, that spaceship can be sufficient enough to be utilized when you jump into it as a spirit and think that you're reading minds. So let's get into the actual process of reading minds. Now, when you're around Pacific people, right, y'all constantly channeling each other. So this is why you pick up vibrations. There will be no reason for you to pick up vibrations if you're not channeling each other. So that's letting you know that we're all connected in some way, shape, or form. And we're connected not in the physical, we're connected in the metaphysically, which is spiritually. And once that internal connection pick up, then we end up attracting ourselves together physically. And it doesn't necessarily have to just deal with people, but also places and the things we manifest in our lives. So for the most part, when you talk about reading minds, now when you're around other people, right, these people are going to act certain ways around you, and they're going to think certain ways around you. So you and your mind being an antenna, you're going to pick up on these frequencies. Now you may not necessarily know what the frequency is based upon what you see from a person, but you're going to feel it. You see what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. There's going to be certain vibrations and certain thought forms that people have around you. Now, when you pick these things up, you need to sit back and ponder on that energy signature. You know what I'm saying? You got to sit back and ponder on that energy signature. And here's where practice come into play. For an example, say you got a best friend, right? And say your best friend want to go to the store to get and buy a bulletproof vest. I'm just talking shit right now, right? Say you got a best friend, your friend want to buy a bulletproof vest. Okay, now the thought process that you picked up was formulated in you got a best friend that want to buy a bulletproof vest. Right? Now, the frequency, the vibrations you pick up from it is, okay, it's a sense of a person wanting a sense of protection from something. A sense of protection from any weapon formed against me shall not prosper. Now, this is a spiritual concept right here, but it plays out physically. So that'll be the vibration that plays out. Now you need to break down the energies of this, right? First of all, now how your best friend is looking at this energy is how it manifested in your best friend life. So this energy manifested in no weapon formed against me shall prosper. So in your friend life, your friend manifested the energy signature of that same energy in his life with his perspective or her perspective. So it came out in the perspective of a bulletproof vest and wanting you to go to, and that's the stuff that's on their mind. So break that down. Why do people want a bulletproof vest? A bulletproof vest protect people from weapons of bullets here. You see what I'm saying? You got many different weapons here. You got spiritual people who will throw rocks at glass at your glass house and shit. That's a form of weapon too. But I'm just breaking it down for if you had a friend with a who made it manifest in this type of way. You see what I'm saying? So all right, break down what is a bulletproof vest. Now a bulletproof vest is something that protect you from bullets and protect you from that, right? So if that's on your friend mind, right? Now sit back and ponder on that energy. So when you sit back and ponder on that energy, now you get to develop all kind of ideas and concepts of why any person, not just your friend, why any person will come up with the conclusion of needing a bulletproof vest. right? Now you could come up with circumstances and scenarios of what the bulletproof vest protects and why a person would need a bulletproof vest. Then you could dive yourself in a lot of those scenarios, and then you will be able to see the energy signature from a broad level, not just coming from your friend perspective. You will be able to see that energy signature period on a broad level, and you'll be able to see that that same energy signature is just manifesting in your friend life in that way, and the way that they manifesting it in their life is correlated into how that energy play out. Now you know in your friend life this same energy must be playing out in a negative way, because that same energy that your friend is pointing to in this realm is taking shape and form. What he's manifesting is taking shape and form of a bulletproof vest. So we know what that represents, and we know in that imagery and in that line of events, we know guns going to be involved. We know situations and circumstances going to be involved where a person feel like they need a gun. We know circumstances and situations going to be involved where a cause may happen where the effect may have a need for a gun. So boom, now once you sit back and ponder on that energy, you're able to sit back and see that energy play out in many different shapes and forms. Now let's get back to your friend. So now once you understand this, you could kind of perceive the thought process on your friend mind. You could kind of, and then once you break that down even further, you could kind of start to perceive how your friend gonna think before your friend even think it, because you took the mental concept of your friend and you proceeded it further than your friend probably even seen it. So you probably can see your friend going through a situation, and you probably could see the outcome of it before your friend. So when your friend so you could be able to say things to prevent your friend going through all the way through it because of the outcome that you seen. And based upon how lost your friend is how much they're going to listen to you or not and resonate what you got saying. And if you got a lost friend that doesn't resonate and they're going to do what they do anyway, then that's an experience that they spirit need to do anyway. So if your friend keeps showing you examples of them not listening and you being wise enough to know better, then that's when you need to be wise enough to just be quiet and let your friend go ahead and go through that experience, because that's something your friend's spirit needs to go through in order to understand what you was talking about. But that's almost like you living in a city, right? But you moved in that city from somewhere else. So you're telling your friend about your city. Your friend ain't gonna take your city serious though. It's not gonna be emotionally attached in no type of way, because your friend didn't experience the city that you just moved from the same way you have. So your friend not even gonna truly understand it unless they experience the city you just moved from themselves. So that plays out in every different nature. That plays out in this nature also. So a wise person is a person that's old. So you could be a person that's old in spirit. That means your spirit have went through a lot of experience already. Your spirit went through a lot of circumstances and situations. Who the fuck is this nigga? Your spirit went through a bunch of circumstances and situations where it have already experienced what other spirits that's here may not have experienced. So you're able to, so just because you didn't experience that energy signature in this realm of reality, you may have experienced in a previous realm of reality in your previous body that your spirit was in, but you're still playing out the same energy signatures. So since it's going to take a different shape and form based upon the realm of reality you in. The realm, the lights that's emitting and taking shapes and forms, and the way spirits can jump in and see themselves in that way to experience their dreams. So just because you're here now, you still experiencing the same energies. You know what I'm saying? But they're just taking different shapes and forms. So you just have to get familiar with the energy of this shape and form so you can resonate with it and be like, okay, this is something I don't want to experience anymore, or this is something that I need to experience now. So that's how it'll play out. But that's a spiritual old person, a spiritual person who understands these things. So as a spiritual old person, that's a person who's been here a lot longer than you. Now, this is what you need to understand too. Don't get lost into family and things of that nature, right? You just because you got parents or people who older than you, like older siblings and things of that nature, spirituality is not dealing with age in that matter. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about age and lineage and age and time, we're talking about age in the energy realm, when things is non-physical and become physical. So we create energy as spirits. We're the creators, and that's the creation. So energy, light, sound, gas, particles, whatever, all light, stars, bodies, wombs, all that is what we create for ourselves. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, when we talking about reading minds, I had a motherfucking point. But I had a motherfucking point. God damn, I should have smoked the motherfucking nail. But yeah, when we creating all these motherfucking bodies for ourselves, so you could create the mental body, and wisdom is dealing with old age. Okay, yeah, that was my point. Talking about how you can be older as far as spiritually, but older than your family members. Because look, when we talk about spiritual traveling through the astral realm, that doesn't necessarily deals with time and the way you look at it. That just deals with experiences. So for the most part, your spirit could have experienced many realms of realities. Now, this realm of reality has its specific time, has its specific order. And how we calculate that is based upon the entities that was here before. So this is how we calculate the stars and the spirits that's in those stars that's making them rotate and travel in the way that they're traveling. So we can understand the energy that's behind it. You know what I'm saying? So that's astrology. But for the most part, each realm of reality has its own time, has its own frame, because it's its own being. It's its own world. So as a spirit, this may be your first time here, and then your parents' spirit may have been here before you. But as far as spirits itself, ain't no telling how old you are compared to your parents, but how or your older siblings and things of that nature. But how you decipher that is based upon your knowledge, your wisdom, and that tells you your spiritual age. So if you're more wise than your siblings, if you're more wise than older friends you have, if you're more wise than your parents, then that means you are spiritually older than them. You went through more worlds, and you went through more realms and realities than they have, and they're a lot younger than you as spirits. So for the most part, them being a spirit, that might be their first time in this realm of reality, right? So your first time coming here doesn't exclude you being in other realms of realities and other time frames. You know what I'm saying? It's just when you got here as a spirit, this was your first time here. But that doesn't necessarily mean that someone's older than someone else spiritually. That just means they experience another realm before someone. So your parents experienced this realm as spirits before you have, but that don't necessarily mean your older siblings or your older spirits have experienced more realms of realities than you, more times. You know what I'm saying? More bodies, more worlds, more beings. Because each time, each world is correlated in a different calculation, just based upon position and location. Everything is space and location. You see what I'm saying? So when you want to talk about reading minds, all you have to do is understand the energy signature of what make a person come to the conclusion that they came to in the first place. A person is not doing something that they don't believe. You see what I'm saying? If a person don't believe something, they're not going to do it. So everybody has some shape and form of belief in this realm of reality, and you'll be able to decipher a person's spiritual age based upon what they believe. Because what they believe, you have lower level beliefs, higher mid-level beliefs, higher level beliefs, and these beliefs is like ladders, and it shows you where a person spiritually on the ladder is at. So a lot of times you have to let people be, and let a person take their own steps one step after a time, because you trying to tell them what they need to be on your step. They need to take that process of steps, and a lot of times you may be on a lower step than them, and you may not understand that based upon your ego. You know what I'm saying? Your limitations and your blockages in your life that you put upon yourself, because you always find something externally to hate on when and then you want to formulate your concept based upon external references, and that's where you're going to fall short. That's where you're going to lack wisdom and knowledge. That's where you're going to lack. You need to just do you. You don't need to worry about what other people's spiritual growth and being is on, and what other people's spiritual ladders is on, because you may not be aware where your spiritual ladder is at, and your concept of your spiritual ladder is your ego. So you may think your spiritual ladder is on a higher scale than someone else's, but remind you, there's a heaven and a hell on every level. So where there's one hell, where there's one heaven, that heaven ain't nothing but a hell to another heaven. You know what I'm saying? Where there's one hell, that ain't nothing but a heaven to another hell. So you need to keep that in motherfucking mind, and just understand that you truly, there's people out here fighting higher battles. So they have to put themselves in more realms of realities. They have to include themselves into more perceptions in order to come in those shapes and forms, to gravitate and to attract more people. So whatever that you pushing out could be manifested as something that can be used. You can't apply yourself if you're not doing the energy work in that area. Otherwise, you just might as well don't participate at all. But we're not here not to participate. We're here to participate and understand what we're participating for, so we don't lose ourselves in the participation. but the participation is out there in every shape and form. You see what I'm saying? You have to understand that. Like, there's a lot of people who get on the internet and want to teach a lot about black problems and things of that nature. But at the same time, you're participating on the internet. So if you're not going to learn how to get with the program, you're just going to find a bunch of external things to disagree with, to formulate what you think you want to push out. And that's one of the lowest ladders you can ever be on, because it could be somebody here that's super dumb, that's lost in all the illusion, and still prosper spiritually and physically more than you, because that person's spirit itself isn't wrapped up in any limitations that the spirit didn't put upon itself. That spirit truly just wants to experience. So that spirit is so lost, it just wants to experience everything. But within these experiences and vortexes and vibrations, at least the spirit is utilizing the energies that was placed out here in order to manifest what is needed to be manifest, in order to sustain yourself as a spirit, so you don't go through any complaining about anything. You see what I'm saying? So they still gonna have their life where they need to understand and correlate and bring into grips. But they'll learn that from the higher spirits that's over them and shit like that, and this, that, and the third. But it won't be mine or your spiritual responsibility to try to dictate what part of the ladder someone's spirituality is on. You see what I'm saying? So people, it's so many realms of realities out here. And if you don't never put yourself in a realm of reality to kind of see what these are made about, then you won't know nothing. And then you will. They say the man, which is man and woman, they say the mankind is scared of what they don't understand. So you're going to see signs of people being scared. You're going to see signs of people being upset. You're going to see signs of people being disgruntled. You're going to see signs of people disagreeing with what other people are doing. And this is just a sign of you being in your own secluded situation, and you then added up certain emotional attachments that don't allow you. Like, emotional attachment is like water. So if you just blinded your goggles with a bunch of water with no chlorine in it, then you're not even going to see anything from another perspective, to the point that your perspective itself won't reach anyone who don't have your own perspective. So your perspective will only be reached by people who share your perspective. Now, based upon how large or small your perspective is going to be how many people or how many others you attract in that perspective. Now, if your perspective isn't gaining any traction, or if your perspective isn't seen as any prosperous energy, then your perspective is very low, and your perspective is very small, and you're going to find yourself being upset when other people got bigger perspectives than you. And then, since you didn't close yourself off in your perspective so much, you don't even see yourself having a bigger perspective, so you close yourself off from the overall perspective, where the overall perspective could come in many different perspectives. Do you get what I'm saying? So do not be a spiritual hater. And if you want to know how to read minds, then align yourself with the energy signature of what you see as far as the illusion. The illusion is the vibes you pick up. The illusion is the thoughts and the thought forms that you pick up from others. Now sit there and dissect and see where that leads, and actually see where it comes from. A lot of times you can see where it comes from. Because, like I said, going back to the person who won a bulletproof vest, right? Now you know where it comes from. The energy signature for them to even come to that conclusion came from a place of being of rebellion, or a place that things are not going their way, and they have to come out in a super hot, volatile way in order to manifest what they want. So the disgruntled becomes so high and volatile that it creates scenarios of rapid change, high vibrational moments rapidly, that can transform you physically and spiritually. And for the most part, that's the space that this person's spirit is coming from. So that can kind of help you understand, okay, that's why this person have these thoughts. But then these thoughts in general, you can see where they lead. So therefore, every time this person come around you, you could kind of formulate how they think. You could kind of read their mind now. So even though if they act on certain things that may not necessarily specifically be how you can read it, that energy signature still play out in the same realm of reality. So you'll be able to sit back and be like, okay, if it ain't if it don't play out in the same shape and form, it's going to be something like that, whether it's on a high vibrational level or a low vibrational level. And therefore, you'll be able to decipher if this is a person you want to participate with or a person you don't want to participate with. And that's how you read minds. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn air.